Hi, Angel here for Warslate. I'm in Kathmandu right now, which is the capital from Nepal. And in this video, we're talking about composition. So how do you compose a photo that it looks particularly interesting? And we are talking about the way how you improve your composition from day to day and week to week today. You can make your photos look more interesting by composing them in an interesting way. For instance, by having a foreground element, or by incorporating a reflection, or by finding natural frames that frame your main subject. And the way you can improve your composition skills from day to day and week to week is by setting yourself challenges. For instance, I'm in Kathmandu at the moment, like I said in the beginning, and when I want to improve my composition skills, I would set one challenge for each day. And if you want to follow along, the first challenge for day one or week one is to follow the rule of thirds. That means that every photo you're taking, you make sure that you're following the rule of thirds. If you don't know what the rule of thirds are, but I'm sure you know, if you don't, then look in the description. I've got a link to an article that is explaining the rule of thirds, and that is the first challenge. The challenge on the second day is symmetry. That means that every photo you're taking, you're making sure that it is symmetrical, that you're putting something in that makes the photo symmetrical. That's particularly easy with landscapes, of course, but it's also possible with portraits and other kinds of photography. The third challenge is the foreground element. That means that with every photo you're taking on the third day or the third week, is you're making sure that you're implementing a foreground element into your photo. And now the photos become very interesting and they stand apart from typical snapshots that normal tourists might be taking with their phone or with their camera. So a foreground element can be a flower, for instance, that's in the foreground but out of focus, because the focus is on the subject, of course. But a foreground element can be everything. It can be other humans. You can shoot through something and have a foreground out of focus. And yeah, that is the third challenge. The fourth challenge is a natural frame. That means when you're taking photos, either street photos or landscape photos or portrait photos, you're looking out for a natural frame that is framing the subject. That can be a door, for instance, or a window, but it can also just be like some random metal sign or something that you find outside that is framing your subject. For example, you can take photos through like a barbed fence and then make sure that your subject is in the middle and that the fence, the wire of the fence is framing your subject. That is a natural frame, and those photos can be very interesting. On the fifth and last day, the goal is to find reflections in our natural environment, like this window. It's not the best example, but a pretty good one. This is just a window where it's a bit darker on the inside, and that's why it's reflecting me on the outside. And the goal on the fifth day is to find reflections and to incorporate them into your composition. Reflections don't have to be windows. You can find them in nature, for example rivers and lakes. Obviously they reflect a lot when you're doing landscape photos, but you can also find puddles on the street, and you can find mirrors that shops also have out. And then of course when you're taking portraits or like other creative photos, you can just bring a small mirror or either also a big mirror and incorporate that into your photograph. So these are the 5 challenges that you can practice when you want to improve your composition and photography. When you're traveling or when you're doing portraits or whatever you want to practice, whatever type of photography you're doing, every day or every week you set yourself a challenge and then work on that specific challenge. And then you will see that with every day, with every week that's passing, you will find way more interesting photos that you can take during your life.